Um, it kind of came around kind of funny. So Colin initially, I want to say in about September, was like, it was if somebody Googles it, they'll be able to tell me exactly when it was. But there was a Saturday where it was International Comic Book Day, and none of us knew about it, and we were like, that's a bit of a, considering we run, it's one of those things that you're like, we should be one of the experts on that topic. So the fact that we don't know anything about it just shows you how kind of underappreciated, at least in Scotland or in British comics, how underappreciated International Comic Book Day is. So Colin was like, so Colin had done like loads of Googling, and that was like, there isn't such thing as Scottish Comic Book Day. And actually all the hashtags and at stuff that you can do on Twitter, all the Twitter handles and that, they're all free for Scottish Comic Book Day. So we should do something. So originally the idea was just to like retweet that hashtag on the day, and then after about a couple of weeks of kind of running the Facebook pages and the Twitter pages for that event, it was growing arms and legs exponentially. It was actually quite exciting. And as I say, the organizer of me was like, I want to do something as part of this. I think we should do something as part of this. I was like, we should do the after party. That would be quite funny. And it's an excuse for us all to get around a beer, get around a table for a beer. But then again, that kind of grew arms and legs, and it's like we could go to a local brewery. We could use contacts, and go for that. So we met with the Haberdashery, which is a pub in Dunfermline, which my wife's friend owns, Darren, and we met with him and sort of shared our idea. And then about an hour later, we're like, he's like, yeah, just go to the brewery. I'll front half of the money required to do a small batch. Wow. Yeah, originally we were just going to have like an after party, but then we were chatting, and he sells Beef Brewing stuff behind the bar. It's one of the only pubs in Fife, one of, I think, maybe a half dozen pubs in Fife that you can go to and just buy cans of the stuff over the counter. So he was like, so he had a good relationship, and we have a good relationship with Ian, having been long-term customers, and so we just approached Beef Brewing and we're like, well, we do it, and he was like, yeah, totally. So we again, like, he was like, what kind of beer do you want to make? And we were like, I don't know if any of you guys have had Beef Brewing, but they've got a beer called Dance Monkey, which is incredible. Yeah. And so we sort of like kind of something that's Dance Monkey-ish in terms of like alcohol content, because it's like 7.1. We were going like, I went in and I was like, if you could do Dance Monkey with like major notes of peach at 6.2, 6.3, that sounds like my ideal beer. And we just went with that, something peachy around about the 6% mark, and see what happens. And then it came out at 7.1, and the after party happened, and we sold loads of it, but we were all like hanging really badly on the Sunday.
I'll bet, yeah.
Yeah, it was good. And working with Beef was really interesting. Taking part in brewing was amazing. Colin designed the labeling, but so it was all kind of done in house. Colin designed the label, Beef printed it, and then me and my 12-year-old son were in Beef 2 nights beforehand with their 3D printed labeling device.
Oh wow!
And so it was just good. It was nice. It was like to think, like, to be part of that process. Like,
yeah,
I know me and Andrew went up to do some of the mixing and like fighting over the paddle and stuff for like mixing the malts in and stuff. It was. I totally recommend it if anybody lives near a small brewing or is friends with a brewery. Just ask to get involved in a brew day. I imagine most, like, we'd been talking back and forth with Beef for ages, and he was just like, "Oh, I'm doing a brew on Tuesday. You can pop up on a Tuesday and just take part." And
it's incredible. Cool. Yeah, it's incredible.
I think I can imagine it being quite addictive as well. It's a bit like I think I've been to like big breweries before, and you do the brewery tour. Like, I've done it at Fine Ales, and I've done it at the big one, the Black Isle Brewing, just north of Inverness. I've done the brewery tours there, but they're so big and industrial. Whereas like when you go to a craft brewer, like a small like micro brewery, it's like a mad scientist lab, and there's all these like tubes and hoses and like things are bubbling in that. It's just really cool, and it smells amazing, and you're like,
it's just taking place in someone's kitchen.
Yeah, totally.